Hey, what's up YouTube, and welcome to today's video where I'm going to show you how you can get the Diablo 4 beta for free early access. Now normally you would have to pre-purchase the game if you want to play it early access, but with the video I'm going to go over what exactly you can do in the open beta, because like a lot of people, I was wondering, can you actually do all of the end game? Can you experience all of the infinite complexity that Diablo 4 has to offer? And why Diablo 4 will be the best ARPG of all time, dethroning all of its competitors. Now, that's probably not going to happen because, let's be real, Path of Exile 2 is probably going to be better than Diablo 4 once it actually releases. But as you can see, this is some nice gameplay. And one thing I do notice about the gameplay is that it looks pretty smooth. There's a lot less mobs when you compare it over to another ARPG like PoE. But the graphics look amazing, and the UI looks very visually appealing. Now, what can we actually do and expect for the open beta? So there's going to be 2 weekends of open beta, allowing us to actually only explore the early game of Diablo 4. So we won't be able to try out all of the acts. I think there's like 5 acts. Not really sure how many acts there are. But there's the first zone known as the Fracture Peaks. We can experience the story and yada, yada, yada. So early access open beta, the dates are on March 17th through the 19th. And then there's going to be an open beta available to everyone from March 24th to the 26th. And that doesn't require any actual pre-purchase. But if you want to play the game early access tomorrow on March 17th to the 19th, you will have to either pre-purchase the game or go eat some chicken sandwich. And I'm going to go explain exactly what I mean by that. And you do get a reward if you level up your character to 25. I think you get the beta wolf pack. And that's some microtransactions, some cosmetics. So maybe it's going to be a super rare limited item in the future. Now, what are the actual restrictions of the beta? Like I said before, the level cap is at 25. We're only going to have the prologue and then Act 1 of the campaign. And there are going to be 5 classes for Diablo 4 launching. And I think it's the Barbarian, Rogue, Sorceress, Druid, and something else. But basically, you can only play the Barbarian, Rogue, and Sorceress in the first week. So you can see right here. And then the Necromancer and Druid is going to be part of the second open beta weekend, available to everyone. The reason they probably did this is probably to spread out the hype and also to get a lot more players to play throughout both beta weekends. So if you play the first beta weekend and you're like, oh, I want to try out the other classes, then you're going to play the other classes during the second open beta weekend. So that's a nice way of driving up the hype long term for the game. Now, what can you actually do in the open beta? Now, as you may know, you can only do the first act and prologue. So it's not going to be that much time, and getting to level 25, from what I read online and from what people have told me, is probably going to be like a 3-hour affair or 4-hour affair, depending on how fast you are and how many optional storylines you're going to be interacting with. So there's the main quest line and side quests that you can do. So the main quest line is just a normal campaign, and there's probably going to be a lot of side quests. I'm not really sure if this is a side quest or not. So there's going to be world events on the map. So world events are probably, if you ever played World of Warcraft before, it's kind of like world quests that you can do. There's some that are like escort quests, and there's some like satiate hunger of bloodthirsty obelisk. That's probably what's going on in this video right here. And there's also going to be Legion events for us to do. Now, Legion events are like longer, challenging experiences where you fight like hordes and waves of monsters. So if you ever played like maybe Guild Wars or New World, there's going to be rifts or something that appear. So a lot of this stuff does seem like more of an MMO sort of experience, and it's going to be interesting to see how Blizzard approaches combining the ARPG elements that people love with the MMO elements, kind of like how Lost Ark did. Now, within these zones and campaign levels, there's going to be some dungeons that you can do, and these are going to be very tight areas, tense encounters, or that's how they phrase it. Not really sure how it's going to be. So it's going to be a lot of different things to do, and kind of a very similar experience to playing like an MMO. Now, next up, we have something that's pretty much copied over from Lost Ark, which is these huge ass world bosses that we get to face. And the world boss that we get to face related to the early game that Blizzard has told us about is called Ashava, and this is what it looks like, and it actually looks pretty sick. Now, this boss will spawn at certain times of the day, and it's going to be such a big event that not GGG, that Blizzard has released the spawn time, so the 10 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Pacific, and Sunday at 12 a.m. I do think the beta comes out on Friday at 9 a.m., so it's going to be roughly 25 hours before we're going to be able to see our first glimpse of what a world boss looks like. Now, world boss, I imagine you just group up with a lot of players, not really sure how you actually look for the players. So it's going to be interesting to see how Blizzard does this sort of community experience in a traditionally single-player ARPG environment. Now you might be wondering, the bulk of the video and what you probably clicked for is how do you actually get early access for free? I know a lot of people really want to play the game tomorrow, but Blizzard has some interesting promotion right now with KFC. So they partner up with KFC or Kentucky Fried Chicken so you can get this double down sandwich. And this is actually a sandwich that's been around for a while and then it got discontinued, but then it got brought back for a limited time. Kind of think of it as the McRib if you know McDonald's. So this is what it looks like. It's kind of cool. I mean, it kind of looks like a heart attack in a sandwich, not gonna lie. But basically, you replace the chicken buns with chicken breasts, and the middle is bacon and cheese in the middle. And you can see these are the nutrition facts. You're gonna get pretty swole off the sandwich. 2 patties of chicken, 52 grams of protein, a lot of salt, some grams of fat. I mean, that's not too much. You can eat 2 double downs or 4 chicken patties a day. You can get 100 grams of protein in, 1,200 calories, and you'll be set. So this is all you pretty much need to eat. So maybe you go to KFC, buy like 8 double downs, and then you're set for the whole weekend, and you can get all the characters to level 25 for the beta. Of course, you probably should not do that. And any eligible sandwich, I think there's another sandwich, Kentucky Fried Chicken Original sandwich or whatever, the one that everyone tried to copy with the Popeyes chicken sandwich. But basically, you buy it. I think it gives you some sort of code that you can enter in online, and then you can have access to the open beta early access. Now, this is only available to US customers. I do know that KFC is in other countries besides the United States, but I think this offer only works for the United States. Now, overall, what do I actually think about Diablo 4, especially with how the open beta is rapidly approaching? I do think that Diablo 4 has one thing that I think is really crazy, which is that it's a very, very expensive game. And if you want to play early, it actually costs almost $100. So if you see right here, the digital deluxe edition and ultimate editions are the only ones that grant you 4 days of early access when the game actually launches in June. So you can see you're going to have a pretty big head start advantage if you actually think Diablo 4 has any sort of economy. And even at $70, the game is kind of a steep cost in terms of pricing. I do know that games have been kind of stuck around the $60 threshold for a very long time. So no matter what, if you want to play the game, you're going to be shelling out a minimum of nearly $100. Now, open beta is going to be a tiny taste of the full game. However, we're going to have a really good feel of how the combat feels and how everything feels. And I do think that combat is one of the most important elements of a ARPG. We're going to see how the UI feels, and we're going to see how the graphics look. So I do think that the open beta will be kind of eye-opening, and we'll be able to even get a better sense of how character progression works and the tree or the passive skill tree or the Paragon tree that Diablo 4 will be implementing. Now, this is definitely the golden era of ARPGs. In the future, we're going to have Last Epoch that had multiplayer, and that's probably going to have seasons coming out. If you don't know what Last Epoch is, it's another ARPG that's kind of inspired by Path of Exile, but it does have a lot of the quality of life features that we are missing. Now, Path of Exile, as a lot of people know, is coming out with a sequel called Path of Exile 2. That's probably releasing sometime around next year or so. And then we have Diablo 4, of course, that's coming out in June. So if you're an ARPG fan, this is a great time to enjoy it. And there's no better way to enjoy it than eating a KFC Double Down and getting access to the early beta. But thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know which ARPG you're actually most excited about in the future in the comments down below. And thanks for watching. Bye!